Alright, I'm going to make this fast this morning. Today's date is August 26, 2013 at 8:45 a.m. You can see that my tent is locked up here. I'm hiking in San Diego and I'm saving for a mobile home. I'm a target victim and activist concerning the crimes of what is known as organized stalking, which can also be called gang stalking. And as a result of me being a victim, target, and activist of this crime, I experience overt harassment along all of my routes, and including overtly perpetrated threats concerning my property, okay, and my bike. Now, part of the harassment that I experience at this hiking area is individuals ride by on their bikes, or they'll jog by, and they'll say, gang stalk, gang stalker, gang stalking, oh my god, and then periodically as they're doing that, they'll say, why don't you come and steal our stuff? So I gotta make a video picture concerning it every morning. They've also set up some individuals about 200 feet away, okay, who are yelling gang stalking from a distance. And they're also using people to get around me at the businesses I frequent, like Ralph's, the Island Restaurant, Staples, and Best Buy over off of Villa La Jolla Plaza. And when I visit these businesses, I take my bike with me, so when I go to lock up my bike, they'll stand around me acting like they're leaving the business, and then coming out of the business, they unlock their bikes at the bike rack where I'm locking mine up at, and they'll be engaged in what is known as the direct conversation method. There'll be usually two of them, or one person on their phone, and what they do is basically create a conversation that they're having, okay? And within that conversation, they'll lace implied threats that are designed for you to hear while they're acting like they're just talking about their own personal situation. Case in point, yesterday they got around me at a Ralph's as I was going there, and every time I go there, I go to a certain bike rack and lock up my bike. So they had some individuals stand around me and say, yeah, you know, I gotta look for a new hiking area, and then they started talking about another guy stealing this guy's property. Okay? Now what you gotta understand in organized stalking and gang stalking expeditions is what they do is they use opposing, which means opposite, contrasting statements when they get around a target. One is designed to make it appear that they've been a victim of a specific type of crime, like they're hiking and then their property's been stolen. Okay? And then they'll lace in the same conversation about how they gotta find a new hiking area. And this is done to convey the message about your property being stolen, yes, creatively and covertly, and it's also done to make that person look like a victim. See, what you gotta understand here in organized stalking and gang stalking expeditions, what they do is try to create two opposing neural pathways of a target. Okay? And they do this by getting around a target. Like they did this at one of the rallies I went to. Hang on a second. Over at one of the press conferences. In fact, it was, I forget which one it was. It was one of the last three. Whenever I went to these press conferences, I bought a hot dog from a hot dog stand, a vendor that stands right by where the press conferences and rallies happen at. And then other people have done this as well. They buy a hot dog, and then they'll sit on this little ledge, or they'll sit there and have a cigarette. And so every time I went there, I've had a hot dog, and a few of the times I went there and have had a hot dog, I've sat on this ledge. So they basically see what your routes are, what your habits are when you go to a specific place, where you lock up your bike, where you might sit at when you go to a specific place. And gang stalking was set around me at these rallies. And I got it on a video file and an audio file to prove it. And basically, so one of the last rallies I attended, they had two skanked out women sitting there, and one was talking about how, yeah, being a victim of a crime is wrong, and that the perpetrator should be put in jail, while the other one, after they solicited those statements, then the other one started saying gang stalking. That's right. And oh my god, weird and crazy. Because it's two opposing, okay, types of statements. That perpetrators of crime should be put in jail. The other one talks about and is repeating the word gang stalking, which is criminal activity. two opposing neural pathways to get you to think about what they're saying and what type of people they're saying as a result of them being a victim of a crime supposedly, and then the one that they're talking to is literally perpetrating a crime by re-mentioning the name of the crime that's happening to me, gang stalking. Two separate opposing neural pathways that they want me to think about. Think about this. One, I'd be thinking about how they're talking about how they're victims of crime and that it's not right, because they know that that's how I think. I'm a strong activist concerning being against criminal activity. Then, after those statements are anchored in my mind as a result of hearing it, the one the person's talking to and acting like they agree with what that girl is saying will mention and re-mention and re-mention and re-mention gang stalk, gang stalker, gang stalk. Oh my God, we're crazy. That's right. Two opposing neural pathways. Okay? They basically get around you to make these kind of statements to get you to think about the theme of each one. That's right. Your neural and emotional and mental and spiritual belief concerning each one. As a result, neural pathways are created. That's right. And they both, when they're thought through, they come to a center, which leaves an individual not being able to, it confuses the brain, because once these neural pathways are created in reference to, because when you first think about a thought like, I am going to go to Walmart, by the time you get to the word Walmart, you have already completed the thought, okay, and you've already have a generalized idea concerning the theme of that statement in your mind, concerning a thought to go to Walmart and then the action of going. Then you have another opposing neural pathway, like, I am not going to go to Walmart. Okay? That's right. And then in the middle, as a result of the two contrasting themes, you end up in the middle with indecision. Indecision, that's right. And that's their whole goal, is to bring you to a point in your mind where your thoughts and your consciousness are empty. That's right. Because both neural pathways, once they're completed, end up being at a spot. Okay? I gotta go. I got a long day ahead of me. I'm gonna make a video about this, but trust me, I know what I'm talking about. It's called Mind Control Twin Door Mind Control, where you got two separate doors, hallways of thinking, okay, and they're both contrasting and opposite of each other. It's called reverse logic as well. Alright, I gotta go. I'm in San Diego, California. I'll make a good video about this. Trust me, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I've done extensive, thorough research into these expeditions. They use neuro-linguistic programming to do it. That's right. And that's why they're getting along all my routes and constantly repeating gang stalking, gang stalk, gang stalker, gang stalking. Here they'll say, why don't you come and steal our stuff? And at UCSD in June and July, they said the same thing, except they said, why don't you go and steal our stuff? That's right. And that occurred as I was replacing batteries in my digital tape recorder. Alright, I gotta go. This is showing you my properties here. Okay? Their whole goal is to anchor in your mind that, just like they did with the guy up at Ralph's, his whole goal was to anchor in his mind that he's been a victim of a crime. That's right. And the same individual, and then he states, I gotta start looking for a new hiking area. That's right, because I've been making videos lately about, and audio statements lately in my audio file, concerned about how they're going to try and attempt to do something here to motivate me to move. Now, I hide some of my property before I leave here every day. That's right, I do. And then when I come home, I got to get it out. That's sleeping bags, pajamas, and shit like that. If they bring somebody down in here to camp out, like right in here, okay, or act like they're just hanging out over there or whatever, okay, then they believe that I won't get. I already know they know where this property is hidden. See these sheets right here? These sheets were, I had to put them up because within days of me making separate audio predictions in my tape recorder that they would eventually put somebody very close to my area, which would in turn possibly motivate me to move, because if they're closer to my area, they can see where I'm hiding my property. That's right. And within a day and a half after I made 4 separate audio files that spanned over a 2-day period that I would do this, that they might do this, they literally had some of the skanks that are associated to the people they set up 200 feet away that are yelling gang stalking attempt to clear a brush that's directly perpendicular to where that is on the other side. That's why I had to put that up. That's right. That's right. You got to understand something. Let me, like right now I'm making a video. Now you can go to Google and YouTube and type in stalked, drugged, and raped. Is it happening here in San Antonio? That was an individual, and if you look at that entire news broadcast, you'll see John Hall is covered also in the news broadcast. Now, if you went to John Hall's satellite terrorism videos and looked at enough of his videos and listened to him, you'll clearly see him talking about what's on that news broadcast in part. Okay? And he literally talks about how these perpetrators will even go as far as setting up voice-activated recorders in targets' homes, houses, apartments. That's right. And if they'll do that, do you honestly think, would they set up possibly some type of listening device? Maybe even using my cell phone. Recently, an individual just sent me some information a couple months ago about how they're hacking into Target's cell phone and using the speaker that they talk into when they're talking, you know, like the speaker that goes by your mouth, as a microphone. They can also hijack into the cell phone to use the camera on it. That's right. And as a GPS locator. So if I'm making videos talking about, because I think might have made a video concerning that as well, and I made some private audio statements about they're going to eventually try and possibly set somebody up to camp close by me, so I'll be afraid that they'll see where I'm hiding my property, and then in turn that might motivate me to move. Because making a target move from place to place and place to place is their way to make a target feel powerless over their situation, to victimize them concerning it, and to wear them down and wear them out, physically and financially. And within a day and a half of me making those 4 separate audio files, the skanks that they set up 200 feet away started raking an area, okay, which is what they did before they set up that hiking area. They started raking an area that is directly perpendicular to that one. To where I had to set these up at. That's right. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been dealing with organized stalking for 12 full years openly now. That's right. I know exactly how they operate. One of the main methods of organized stalking is to use a target by using a target's psychology, what they might be afraid of. That's right. And if you don't think that they don't steal target's property or vandalize it, think again. And you know what? You can go to Google right now and type in how they use homeless people or people who are pretending to be homeless. Because after they're used for a staged event, that's right, including using neighbors who act like witnesses to the event, like somebody from over there or from up off the hill. That's right, in order to make it appear that the police arriving on the scene as a result of the event is being done through normal appearing means. That's right, to evict the target. If they can't motivate a target to move by making the target feel threatened in reference to their property being stolen, what they'll do is stage an event. So you got to understand this. Why would they then be getting on that sidewalk, and as they ride by, they'll say gang stalk, gang stalker, or gang stalking, and then periodically when they do that, they'll say, why don't you come and steal our stuff? That's an anchored threat, where they're anchoring it in my mind, my property will be stolen. That's right. I know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to this. I have over 700 audio files of gang stalk, gang stalk, gang stalker, gang stalk, oh my God, we're crazy, being said around me in that way, everywhere I go. Okay, so there's no, and you wouldn't believe the proof I have. It's just undisputable. Alright, I gotta go. I'm in San Diego, California. Today's date is August 26, 2013. I got a migraine today, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just end this video now because I got stuff to do and I'm trying to take it easy. Alright, thank you for listening and have a nice day.